I have a dream.
And I was different. I was the odd girl out.
That one day
you can be someone else's hero.
I think that was way bigger than me.
My father used to tell me all the time, you need to help make things better for your kids than they were for you.
As the years pass, things change. They don't change from the night to the day. It takes time to change, but they do.
That's what America's about, is change.
Before the mid-1900s, the United States was divided in two, whites and blacks.
I think discrimination a lot of times takes on the face of bullying also, because discrimination, to me specifically when I was in school, I remember my last year as a senior, we were in a senior meeting and there were some guys behind us and just saying racial remarks like beaners and don't speak Spanish, and they were just laughing at us. And I remember getting to my PE class, and when I took my sweatshirt off to change, I had a tobacco stain on my back. They had spit on my back, and prior to that, they had used spit wads to throw at us. So to me, that is a clear example of discrimination, talking about how you should change based on your background, your ethnic background, and how people perceive difference, of language and color, race, creed as something that is negative, something that makes them feel insecure, therefore afraid, and it's their ignorant way of reacting to that difference.
The old attitudes, the old ideas they had came out of their knowledge of Native people, which was very little. And the only things they knew were, for the most part, stereotypes, things that they learned from watching television or heard from their parents and their grandparents. Sometimes, because of my race, there was bullying by older boys, I remember, in growing up here. And it is really interesting because it was always done when there were no other Native people around.
Right down the street here at 4th and Pierce Street, there were several drugstores. There was a Katz drugstore, there was a Kresge drugstore, and at the Katz drugstore, they didn't have any qualms about telling black people, we don't serve you here, unless you were in the military. And if they came to town with their uniform on and went into this Katz drugstore, they were afraid to refuse them service. And so they would allow them to sit at the counter and eat. Once these airmen or these soldiers ate at the Katz, their plates and all would be destroyed. They would throw them away because they didn't want anybody else to use them.
Everywhere you looked, everywhere you went, there were signs, laws, discrimination.
Discrimination to me is when you're judged for being different.
Discrimination means to judge someone for who you see them as and not because of their color, their race.
Laws like the Jim Crow laws that divided schools, jobs, restaurants, buses, bathrooms, social life, and other numerous daily life situations that would mainly affect African Americans.
We went to a grocery store, me and my brother, a neighborhood grocery store, and we got what we wanted. And when we tried to pay and leave the store, this gentleman that owned the store, white gentleman, he had a shocker thing on his hand, and he would grab us and, shock us and all, and he laughed, So when we got out of there and we went home, and I told my grandfather, I said, this guy, shocked us and didn't want to let us out of the store and the whole bit, And my grandfather said, oh, he didn't mean that. Don't worry about that. I couldn't understand that.
I think we wanted to think that it didn't happen here.
City, I think, cannot forget the issue of John Rice. And most Sioux Cityans don't even know the story of Sergeant John Rice.
Sergeant Rice was killed in Korea on September 6, 1950, defending our Constitution. On the day of his burial at the Memorial Park Cemetery, the funeral official discovered that Sergeant Rice was a Native American. He stopped the funeral and said it was for whites only and refused his burial.
John Rice, who was killed in action defending the Constitution of the United States, but they were not going to bury him because he might taint the ground and taint the cemetery.
Nothing was done about his burial until the president at the time, Harry Truman, was informed of the issue and allowed burial at the Arlington National Cemetery.
It embarrassed the city, believe me, and I think it embarrasses the city right now.
This all changed thanks to a dream, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream. A dream that would bring us together. A dream that would unite our states.
I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
College and become a
Who's your hero?
I hope that this United States of America does not respect our right to govern ourselves. And we do not want the United States to renege on those. That is my dream.
Thanks to his and many others' persistence, we are no longer 2, but 1. We have come together and we have lived up to our country's name, the United States of America. Just how those everyday people fought for what was right then. There are millions doing so right now. There are dreamers across the world, dreamers who want change. In the United States, there are families fighting for the opportunity for an education. This is called the Dream Act.
It's not only the black community needs to be heard, we need to be heard.
I think one of the things that is crucial in this dream for the dreamers is education. They really have a great chance of getting a permit to stay and work in the U.S. if they can prove that they've been in school. People or kids who have decided not to be part of the educational system, their option is basically done. Not to let the fact that you cannot apply for federal and state financial aid be a hinder to you wanting to continue with education. There's always private institutions, people that from the goodness of their heart that want to give people a chance to succeed. And there are also scholarships available with the DREAM Act. And like I said, I know that at least 5 people from community college have benefited from these scholarships.
Native people love it when minorities, whoever they might be, whatever the issue is, when they make gains, Native community supports it. And we supported Martin Luther King and supported the black movement in the country. Like Native people right now support Hispanics, support immigration reform. And it is because if it impacts black people, probably impacts us.
And nowadays, I would have to say some of the senators that are vocal about it, but they could not do it without all the people that are behind the scenes. The parents that have had to leave the country and left their children behind. The children who have been left without parents here, who have to live in a foster home, who have to live. These people are the ones that give the senators strength to voice their concerns, to voice their needs and their desires. People who have this, who were fasting right before Christmas, to let people know that we need an immigration reform and we need it now. I think the common people are the ones who are giving the senators strength. From nowadays is the real people, the children, the parents that have to be separated from their families. Those are the heroes.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is a hero. He is a role model. He is somebody that many generations will be able to look up to. We need somebody that can teach us something that we will learn to use every day for the rest of our lives.
I really admire Valeria Silva. She is the superintendent of the Minneapolis School District, and I really believe in what she is doing. I really believe in the changes that she's been making for students in her district, so right now she would be my role model.
I think Cesar Chavez was one of my biggest heroes. You know, he was a humble man.
Hero is anybody who's ever done anything for somebody else.
Who's your hero?
My padre.
Maybe a challenge to the younger folks that now is it's almost your turn. You know, pick up the mantle and try to move our country forward. Try to make this a country that where there's equality for everybody.
Nobody's going to unless you do. And that's what I would share with young people, is that there are things that are wrong. Do something about it. Say something about it.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is proof that we can make anything happen. We are the change. We are the heroes. And we are the ones who will make our home the best it can be. Because to the world, you might just be somebody. But to somebody, you might just be the world. It's your time to make your dreams come true and be the hero. Be the change. Like Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in